around and kind of creating havoc on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Roll it if you got it.
Yeah, you see them not only on the sidewalk, they're doing wheelies. Some have no license plates on their motorcycles, and some wearing no helmets, by the way.
The initial video has been viewed something like 4 million times, and actually, I really want to get former governor. Yeah, there it is. This is from Tuesday. Former Governor Jesse Ventura is here on a totally different topic, but I'm sure he's been following this issue, as has a good portion of the country. First of all, Governor Ventura, welcome to Good Day New York.
Thank you.
What do you think of this?
Well, it's an unfortunate tragedy. How do you know who's at fault here right away, you know? But as far as, I will take exception to your not wearing helmets, because I'm not an advocate of forcing people to wear a helmet.
What about having a license plate on a boat, on
certainly
a motorcycle?
You should have that. In Minnesota, we don't have a helmet law.
What about riding on the sidewalk? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, that's not the proper place.
Now, this is after this road rage accident on Sunday. You would think they would really try to stick to the law and not cause any more problems.
And they're not even 1%ers. You'd expect it from the 1%ers.
Well, you know what? One thing about, do you ride a bike? Do you ride a motorcycle?
I used to be a member of an outlaw motorcycle club.
Oh, in San Diego, right?
1%er, yeah.
In San Diego? Yeah. Well, my take real quick is all walks of life. You probably saw maybe a few doctors and lawyers in the mix. Did you ever see that?
No, my club was 90% Latino. I was one of the few white guys who could ride into East LA and never be bothered because of the patch I wore.
So basically, we need more information before...
Absolutely. Before you would draw that conclusion, I think, on both sides of the issue, that don't take a knee-jerk reaction immediately until all the facts are known. But certainly looks like a tragic situation that you'd think could be avoided on both sides.
I know you're also talking out about the government shutdown. You're just as frustrated as the rest of us.
Well,
what can we do?
Well, what can you do? Well, the answer is, I like to say, it's as clear as the nose on your face, but as difficult as climbing Mount Everest. Stop electing Democrats and Republicans.
Well, what are the choices?
You're looking at one. I don't belong to either party, and I won the governorship of Minnesota. These two, my last book was called Democrips and Republicans, No More Gangs in Government, because these two parties are like street gangs. They put their party first, they put their money people second, and we might be third, maybe, the public.
I think your message resonates with a lot of people, but it's been, what, 14 years since you were elected, right? 14 or 15 years since you were elected?
I was elected in '98.
All right.
And took office in '99.
And I remember when it happened, and there was like, wow, this perhaps portends more independence, and it seems to never pan out that way. We have one in the Senate, not many out there.
Yeah, because the Democrats and Republicans control the system. They decide who gets to debate. I won the Minnesota governorship because I was allowed to debate. At the primary, I was polling 10%. 7 weeks later, I was the governor of Minnesota. If I can debate them, I can beat them. Because impressive. I don't run against the individual. I run against their two gang parties, because that's who calls the shots. These people who run for Democrats and Republicans are nothing but figureheads for the major gang.
What can we do right now? I mean, because it's frustrating, and we're now seeing like the trickle-down effect, businesses in our area feeling the pain of, you know, the federal government workers, you know, not there.
Well, I'd like to know why we have to pay our full taxes. If the government shut down, why do we then have to pay taxes if they're not working for us? We should be prorated for every day they're shut down. We should receive a federal income tax break.
I like his style.
Wait, do you think that's going to happen?
Yeah, no, it's not going to
happen. Don't hold your breath.
Never. But Rosanna has been endorsing a similar plan for a couple of days now. Yeah. Practically speaking, not going to happen. Not going to happen.
But the point is, we still have the power. People don't realize the power of the vote. And if we literally stop voting for these two parties, there's alternatives, you know, and all of that.
It is, you know, a lot of what you say makes sense. I do think there are good Republicans and Democrats out there. The system at times flawed. I do remember what Winston Churchill said about this. What did he say? Something like, democracy, the worst form of government except for all the others.
Well, let me tell you this. If I do run for president, here's my entire campaign will be on this issue. I will give the American people the opportunity to elect the first president since George Washington, the father of our country, who does not belong to a political party. I could win off that, especially in light of how these bozos right now are shutting down our government.
You got the haircut of George Washington.
Well, they've told me Benjamin Franklin. They said,
one of our founding fathers.
Can we talk about Jesse's new book?
Sure.
They killed our president. 63 reasons to believe there was a conspiracy to assassinate JFK.
There's no doubt
Give
about it.
us a few reasons
well, people
that we haven't heard before.
Well, first of all, did you know Ruby and Oswald knew each other and that Ruby knew Oswald since he was a kid? They've never told you that, have they? In fact, the Warren Commission said that there was no tie between the two. That's a complete lie.
Ruby, well, where's the evidence that they knew each other?
I've talked to a woman, Judith Very Baker, who's in Sweden right now hiding out. She was Oswald's mistress in New Orleans. She went to dinner with them on multiple occasions. She knew Jack Ruby as Sparky Rubenstein, and he actually gave her $50 because she was short of money. And now that's huge, knowing that the person that killed Lee Harvey Oswald had known him since a child.
I'm a bit of a assassination buff, but I come out on the other side. I'm pretty convinced that Lee Harvey Oswald shot him and shot him on his own. I love talking about the issue. Couldn't
make the shots. Carlos Hathcock could not make the shots. He's the top Marine Corps sniper in history. They set up the whole thing for him. He could not duplicate it.
Yeah.
Oswald, let me tell you about the military. When you go in the military, you take batteries of tests and they channel you where you can best use your skills. Oswald wasn't 0300 infantry. He was a radar man. He couldn't shoot.
No.
And you're telling me the greatest sniper in Marine history couldn't make the shots, but Oswald did?
I don't know if you know this, but I'm a Marine myself. And
We'll talk to Carlos.
Oswald was, I know of Carlos. He was, at times, he was a sharpshooter, the second highest
no,
rating.
He was a marksman.
He was a sharpshooter at one time, and then a marksman.
Marksman's third.
Makes him expert sharpshooter marksman.
I know.
But he's still qualified. He's still qualified.
You're talking to an expert in both.
Would you say that he was probably, compared to your regular civilian, a superior marksman?
No.
I guess one thing
no.
I wanted more of was...
If you can't qualify expert, you're lousy.
No, I respectfully disagree.
Well, I qualified expert in both. You're talking to a Navy SEAL here.
You're talking to a Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel. I'm an expert in both, too.
You're an officer?
Yes. Oh,
this is getting dangerous.
No. Listen, I do...
Should I get him mad?
No!
No, people will serve me, and I'll say, you don't serve me. I'm an enlisted man. I knew who my parents were.
Well, listen, there are a lot of people...
come on. Be nice.
All right, there are a lot of people who believe that there is some kind of...
80%. 80% of Americans say that they do not believe the Warren Commission.
Governor Ventura, of those 80%, how many do you think actually read the Warren Commission? It's a heavy read.
Yeah, it's a heavy read. See, what happened with the Warren... I would challenge you to read the Katzenbach memo that I lead the book out with.
Nicholas Katzenbach,
yeah, he was